Hi, welcome to the Dream Factory community. I'm your hostess, Nancy Cantor, and I'm very excited to bring you women entrepreneurs who are living their personal and professional dreams. One of the things that we say that we do at the Dream Factory community is we really are creating communities. We have the Dream Factory community, and we say what it does is it empowers women to make their contribution and impact the world. So today I'm very excited to introduce you to Rosemary Fletcher. She's a professional photographer, and I think you'll agree with me when you see her beautiful images that she's here to bring beauty to the world and really represents what she sees in the best possible light. Welcome, Rosemary.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, so my first question is always when I have guests, given that we have a community that empowers women entrepreneurs, is for you to say a little bit about the Dream Factory. Like, what's your experience been? Like, what brought you there? And how has it supported you in living your dreams?
Well, what brought me to the Dream Factory is that it's a community of women, and I work on my own, so I was looking for a group that I could identify with, you know, get support from, learn from, and work with. And so with the Dream Factory, it's provided those things. And then I also joined the Circle, where we meet monthly, and it's a smaller group. And I'm finding that really very beneficial, and it's very supportive. And then within that group, we have an accountability partner. And so that's been really nice to be able to pair off with someone and get feedback, get another perspective. You know, so it just sort of opens my mind a bit more as I'm working on my own. I get a little tunnel vision there. So it's great to sort of get some other perspectives when I'm working.
Awesome, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, good to hear that. So let's talk a little bit about your history. Like, what brought you to photography? I always think that seems like the coolest thing to do, but you do it professionally, and you've been doing it for a while. What brought you to photography?
Well, actually, I love looking at things. It's just pretty much the visual world. I just enjoy, you know, looking at color, shapes and textures, and I love sort of design and how, when I'm looking, how I can compose something and make that image sort of sing, in it, you know, to some degree. You know, how does it really work? How, you know, that particular angle, is it captivating? You know, does it have as much impact, or can I change something to sort of make it more dynamic? And then in terms of, I think a good part of my desire or my keenness on the visual world is through my upbringing. My mom's a painter and artist, so I've been surrounded by artwork, and my dad enjoys gardening, so, you know, I've had a keen interest in with nature and gardening, and so the combination of the two. And growing up, we would go to museums, sometimes pose for my mom's artist groups for their, you know, when they're doing their drawings and things. And what else? It was just, I just really have an appreciation,
Great.
you know, for the visual world. So
Great, so that would be a great fit for a photographer. What, you know, because a lot of people like photography. I mean, I like to take pictures.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that, and representing all the events we have in the Dream Factory and putting them on Facebook. But I'm not a photographer. You know, I mean, I can say I take nice pictures. Like, what brought you from, like, this is fun, I love doing this, to actually doing it professionally? That might be helpful for people, because there might be people out there who are saying, I'd love to do that professionally, and you really do.
Yeah, well, what I did was I do have a background in art. I did do some studying. I took some courses while I was in college. They were more sort of, it was in another medium. It did some sculpture, painting, drawing. I started, art history. I went on exchange to England, and it was a wonderful opportunity to actually see some of these ancient drawings and etchings done by Leonardo da Vinci. You know, they were right there at my fingertips, and while the teacher was sort of flipping through, showing us these beautiful pieces of work. So I've always seemed to sort of want to include art in my life in some way, whether it was studying it for a degree or, perhaps when we go on vacation, I would be taking photographs, enjoy photographing buildings and gardens and just looking at the design of things. And then, after I finished college, I decided I had a job, I had a day job, and I worked in the hospitality marketing business, and that was fine. I enjoyed that, but I pursued my photography on the side. I would take classes and workshops, and then it came a point that I just needed to, I just wanted to have more control over my time, and I wanted to do something a little more creative. And as I'd been doing the photography up until that point and doing some small jobs too while I was working, I decided, it's now or never. I'm going to seize the moment. I'm a bit of a risk taker, so I decided I would pursue garden photography to begin with, which is a very much a niche.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, especially in this climate, we don't
a
have
limited range of seasons.
Exactly. I mean, it can be for season because the gardens depends on how they're designed, but throughout the season, especially in winter, they can look quite stunning, in terms of just the bones of the garden, the tree trunks and the shrubs, and if there's any statues or things, and hardscapes, pathways, and things like that, they all sort of add to the landscape for wintertime. So they can be quite stunning, but most times businesses like to have their designs captured in the winter. So I know,
or in the winter?
in the summer.
That's what I thought, okay.
But I know, I'm not sure if I answered your question in terms of, for those who are looking to get into photography, this is my way of, the way I've approached it.
Well, yeah, and of course it's your story. It doesn't mean like that's how everybody does it. But
Yeah.
you think having a niche helped you? Because, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and I support them. And I do think having a niche is very helpful. Because if you do gardens and somebody wants to do a garden, chances are they will think of you. I work with a lot of women entrepreneurs, and so if I'm networking at the chamber, if I'm at an event, the ambassadors love me because any woman entrepreneur they meet, they go, oh, you have to meet Nancy. So I really help them in doing their job and making the connections.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So
yes.
as people know, and you grew up, your dad was a gardener, and your mom was a painter, so you had this love of art and beauty, and you saw the garden. So it just seems like, given your history, that would be very consistent with the dream you might have.
That's right, yes.
So you'd be the perfect person. Not like you thought about it for a long time and said, oh, it's going to be very lucrative if I pick gardens. No, it's just like gardens were yours to pick.
Right.
But
yes.
because you were being so true to yourself that you attracted professional work, photographing gardens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you did it. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
So we do have, do you think this is a good time to look at some of the pictures we have here?
Sure, yeah. Well, with this image,
I know this isn't a garden.
it's a private residence, and I photographed this at different times. I also got an evening one, just at dusk actually, when the nightscape lighting, just the night lights come on. So I've got an image of that as well. But this one I quite like, just in terms of the colors, and I love just the way the eye leads you down. So.
It's so funny because I didn't think that was a private residence.
Yes. Yeah, well, it is.
And where is that private residence?
Massachusetts.
It's in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's and it's a project I photographed for RP Marzilli Contractors. I've been working with them for many years, and they have some lovely projects to photograph.
So, and they're a contractor?
Yeah, landscape contractors.
Okay, so it sounds like landscape contractors contact you because they know you do outside scapes, and when they have beautiful projects like this, they want you to capture them.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So move on to the next image. It's another landscape.
Okay.
Actually, it's with the same business.
And this looks like it's in the Bahamas, or maybe it's because the pool is so aqua.
Yeah, yep. It's actually in Marblehead, Mass. The sun rises here and the sun sun sets here and it rises over there. So they get the best of both worlds in the morning and in the evening. So I was there in the morning and I caught some images of this project, and it's an infinity pool where the water just drips over the edge. And then below that is a beautifully landscaped gardens that slope down to the ocean. So, and this one we took at night, at dusk. And then as I said, I got some early morning shots, and they have a kitchen area over here and the house is back here. So, so RP Marzilli did the lighting, they did the fires, the fire pit and the fires coming out of those mini columns.
That's beautiful. And then did you touch this up at all, or is this?
Well, I had to do a little bit. Yeah, I had to do a little bit just to sort of bring out some of the colors.
I mean, the fires are amazing.
Yeah.
How you captured the fires?
Yeah, no, they were, it's very nice. And then while I was working, the homeowner had music piping through, so it was a lot of fun. Just while I was working, I had some background music to keep me going.
That's awesome. That is just a beautiful place.
Yeah, it is. It's stunning. It's very stunning. Actually, this project won an award through the National Association of Landscape Contractors. My client had hired me to photograph it so they could enter this project into this National Awards of Excellence 2015.
Okay.
And they ended up receiving 3 top awards. They got
Really?
the Judges Award, the Grand Award, and the Audience Choice Award. So, and that's what I try and do is when I'm working with a client, this is one of the ways it's going to help support them by taking these images, and which gives them the opportunity to enter into these competitions. And
yeah, I mean, it speaks to the power of a visual image and how it can enhance your work and show it off.
Right,
like if somebody
right.
just took one of my quick photographs of like, oh, nice pool, nice ocean, I'm sure they wouldn't have gotten that result. You do beautiful work. This is extraordinary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really, really beautiful.
When I'm photographing, I really enjoy sort of weaving my way through the space, and looking for the angles and for compositions. I just really enjoy what I'm looking at, and it's sometimes, depending on the client, they want an image more or less sort of more of a document. Here it is in its entirety, and then or in addition, they may want some of the sort of like some vignettes where you can see more of the details.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to be able to, do both, be able to sort of get the sort of the entire image, and then be able to go in and find those details which show a lot of texture and color and the craftsmanship and so on.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I think they've got some great photographs for their brochure.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, and nice memories. Do they ever give the photos to the clients?
Yes, I think sometimes what they may do is put the images into a book, and submit them to their client, or they may decide to print one of these images and have it hung in their office, or they may use it as advertisements, for advertising their business in a magazine.
Great. This is really beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, what else do you have there?
Well, let's see.
Let's see.
Moving into interiors.
Oh, wow.
So
the internal garden.
Exactly. I photograph like the outside of the house, and then as well as the inside.
Sure.
Because the outside is seasonal. And actually, what I'm doing outside translates to inside as well.
Okay, great.
And this is a dining room. It's sort of, and I just really love the way it's been, the interior designer created that space with the furnishings and the colors and so on.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah.
So nice. And I can see that you got a very interesting angle, like looking at it from that perspective.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a very sort of classical, sort of, to me it looks classical, sort of traditional. To some degree, I'm maybe not so traditional, but because because of that, it sort of looks classical, it looks nice to take it straight on.
Yep.
So you get the symmetry.
Okay, that's great. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, what's next?
This is another interior, and this is one where here it's an opportunity where we can decide, when I'm working with my client, who's an interior designer, we'll sort of look at what it is she may want to have captured in that space, and then how do we prop it? How do we stage it to sort of make it more interesting? And I think this one has quite a painterly feel about it, and I think with the painting above, the colors are carried through with the lemons and the napkin and that, and so yeah, it was interesting trying to find the angle in which to sort of make it sort of come across a little bit more, I don't know, artistically.
And when you do something like this is the interior designer picks, like she picked that painting and,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the interior designer will design the space.
Okay.
And then she'll call me and say, I have a project that's ready to be photographed. And then she asks for my input in terms of how I would, what do you think,
Who had the lemons? Who brought the
Oh,
lemons?
the interior designer.
Okay, so the
Yes,
interior,
she'll-
she has all the accoutrements, so you try different things and
Yes.
see what looks the best.
Yeah, sometimes I've brought things too, but most times the designer. And we'll do that on landscape shots too, when outdoor patios and kitchens, we'll sometimes stage it as well, just to give it, make it feel more alive, more lived in,
Sure.
have a little more personality.
Yeah, it's interesting because I have a friend who's a stager, and she's always saying to keep things simple.
Yes,
So that people can imagine their own things in the space.
that's right.
But it would seem like if you're photographing things, you would want to, if you're highlighting your decorating skills, you would want all the accoutrements there.
Right.
You would want it to look put together.
Right, yeah, there's, a little different.
A little different purpose there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then so the interior designer uses these photos for her website or her brochure. So it's a way of featuring one of her designs.
Exactly.
Okay.
And also for her to be featured in a magazine, that she's got this particular project
Okay.
that she's done, and she'd like to, she could approach a magazine and say, tell the story behind this particular project.
Okay.
And then she has the images in which.
So it's a way for them to capture what they've done and really professionalize it.
Right.
So if a magazine was interested or they saw an opportunity, they'd have the photographs already done in a beautiful way that would enable them to apply and get that kind of exposure.
Right, yes.
Okay.
It can work one of two ways. It's great to have it professionally photographed, and the other idea is sometimes just to have some, scouting shots taken, and then the magazine will determine whether, from what I understand, whether it's something they want to run with or not, and if it is, then they'll have it professionally photographed.
Oh, nice. Okay. Interesting.
So, yeah, so I really enjoyed the aspect of trying to create the composition.
Yeah?
And the designer and her assistant did a great job in staging it.
No, they did. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Very well balanced.
Yeah, and the colors.
Colors are great. And it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's a good shot.
thank you.
Okay, what's next?
We have a headshot, and this is so with this particular photo, it was taken, I believe, over at Wayside Inn in Sudbury, and at dusk, sort of early evening to dusk. And she wanted to use this headshot. She wanted to have a professional portrait taken of herself for her business. She was updating her website, and it's part of her branding, and she just wanted to have this have a professional presence on her website and however else she decides to use the image.
And did she feel, and she wanted to be outdoors, obviously?
Yes.
Now, what kind of profession does she have that this was part of her image?
Well, she's a landscape designer.
Oh, well, there you go. Of course,
Yes.
She's got green in the background.
Exactly,
Okay,
outdoors.
good. Well, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think you really brought out her natural personality. She looks very professional yet natural.
Thank you.
That you would get the landscape designer piece. That all makes sense now. Okay, good, awesome. But you don't just photograph landscape design.
No. I photograph individuals who are looking to have their portrait taken for their business, for headshots. They can put on their websites, business cards, social media sites, LinkedIn. That sort of thing.
Match.com?
Yeah, Match.com if they're looking to date.
I think that's very important.
Yes, definitely.
The most important picture ever.
Yeah.
Could establish your destiny somehow.
Right.
Well, I'm kind of laughing because we have a good friend in the Dream Factory community who's very heavily into Match.com, and she's had amazing results.
She has, yes.
And I remember we were out, I think we went to Neiman Marcus. We went out to the cafe at either Neiman Marcus or I think it was Neiman Marcus. And she says, I have to have my picture taken here for Match. Like she was already planning like the setting.
Oh, cool.
So we did our own little photo shoot for her
Cool.
Match.com. It was pretty funny. But I really have an appreciation that, the way you photograph things has a lot of impact.
Mm-hmm.
On your results.
And hopefully for my clients too.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's definitely a distinction when professional is best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, say a little bit more of the value add. Like, what do you think a professional photographer brings to the session?
Well, I think they bring, experience. They can hopefully put the person at ease. And they have the lighting and the equipment to be able to create an image or a portrait that, the client will be happy with. And I think, every photographer has their own style, and they all bring something uniquely different. And that's what's so great about it. Everybody's got their own sort of, I guess you could say, niche as well, with their photography style.
Well, yeah, and if you think about it, you're doing gardens or and you specialize with landscape designers and architects. Like, there's some way that you hold the natural world, like you have a view of that, that just makes a difference. I know there's a lot of different coaches out there, and each one might have a little different niche.
Yes.
And if you spent a lot of time, if you spend 20 years in that particular arena, I think from the coaching model, coaching entrepreneur women, then you might be really good with that. Or small business owners, you might be really good with that. But for you, it's like the natural world. And being able to bring out the beauty and the light and, all the, there's a way you see it that other people wouldn't see it.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. I've heard from my clients that I never saw it from that angle. I never thought to photograph it that way, or or they've appreciated the lighting and the color that I bring with my images. So yeah.
I mean, obviously they get it. Like, they appreciate it.
Right.
They have that fine-tuned looking where they see one of your images and it brings I mean, I'm big into this whole dream thing. So, if you're a landscape architect and you have an image or a dream of how things could look, and you see it in the, in the real world, and then a photographer comes along, and my guess is the way you look at things and the way you put them together, it becomes even better, right? Like, you bring a whole other essence to it of
I see.
how does it get photographed.
Right.
So the real beauty of what they have envisioned and designed and dreamed comes to life in a whole new way through a photograph.
That's true. Yeah, in terms of it does come to life. And it's even for myself, when I print some of my images, or that's when I'm like, oh, just to see it, to me, it brings it to life when I've seen it, when I see it on a piece of photographic paper. You know, because I'm so used to viewing everything on the computer screen, which is great, but it's nice to have something tangible. And I guess that's exactly for like a landscape architect, landscape contractor, that is the same for them as well, you know, just to have their design, you know, their project encapsulated in an image.
Yeah, I'm sure they must be thrilled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what you've already shown us has been beautiful. Now,
Thank
I
you.
understand you've been in a magazine recently, so maybe you could show us, I think we've done all the images here, or is there one left?
Nope, we have done
Okay.
back to the beginning with that one.
Okay,
So-
yeah, I'd love to see what you brought with you.
Yeah, this is actually the Boston Globe Sunday magazine. I was just, the new issue's just come out, and 2 projects that I photographed for a couple of my clients were featured. Their
Awesome.
gardens were featured in here, and I'll flip it open so you can see.
Okay.
Let's see. This one is,
And I think we want to, which camera do we want to head it towards?
I
Over
think
here?
this one.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
this one? Oh, this one right here.
Okay, good. And say more about this one. What is this?
Well, this one is, it's a project that I photographed for Andrea Nielsen Morse of Nielsen Landscape Design. She's a landscape designer, and it's a project that she had designed in Westport, Mass. And it's a very pastoral sort of setting. It's very rural, and it's just very gentle. And
Beautiful.
yeah. So just flipping back. Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
And so we spent part of a day, or actually quite in the morning and the afternoon, walking throughout this estate, capturing the different components to it.
Great.
So-
Awesome. And then there's another one in there as well.
Yes, there is. This one is the farmhouse style. This was photographed in Massachusetts as well, and it's a back garden where they have like an outdoor patio and kitchen and a chicken coop, and it's an opportunity for the family to grow vegetables and to raise chickens and eggs. So
That is just beautiful and
Yeah.
awesome. Well, Rosemary, I just want to thank you for being here today. I think what you've done for me is really educated me on the power of a visual image. Like, it truly makes a difference, and that you've brought so much beauty and light to the surface where people can really enjoy it. So thank you so much for sharing your work with us. And I want to thank you for tuning in today to the Dream Factory community. I'm here speaking with Rosemary Fletcher. She is a professional photographer who specializes in gardens and the natural world. And she, if you're interested in what the kind of work that she does, her contact information will be at the end of the show. And she's a member of the Dream Factory community. If you're interested in that, you can find more information at the end of the show. My name is Nancy Cantor, and here at the Dream Factory community, we are here to support you in living your dreams. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.